end of October 2025 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails and video clips. I'll start with just several pictures. We had a trip to the West Country, Barnstaple, in memory of Jill Warner, friend that we'd only seen a couple of years earlier at a wedding. But it was a lovely trip, meeting people, and and then also preparing for Halloween and enjoying it, suitably dressed. So now I go into the introduction that was shot, probably a month ago now, but it still applies, still leaves on the trees. I'll start with the standard introduction. This is where we live, at 22 Armitage Court in Sunninghill, with warning signs about fierce guard cats. Toady is one of them. You may even pick up a QR code there. And this has been known as Robin's Corner from the late 1980s, where GPS was tested on this spot, just down here. And there's the garden sculpture that June got Robin as a birthday present a few years ago. There's the oak tree that sprung up from an acorn. Yes, we've got lots of acorns everywhere. And this is getting into late September now. Everything's coming into lovely flower. Here's the robot boat, Snoopy's robot boat across the Atlantic. And there's Snoopy the Viking. And I've just noticed a vehicle's arrived. It might be a courier, possibly with the mosquito zappers. Yeah, so problems to be sorted on the robot boat, but that's all on the various photo trails. And just recently I've been consulting some AI machines. Right, this is June's car with promotion of the website gpss.co.uk. that was a business many decades ago. It is now hobbies like the robot boat and charitable causes. So coming down drive here, yes, these are projects like the bicycle not yet working, and the cat forts done several years ago now. Yeah, warning signs everywhere, including armed mice, not just cats. Yes, so that's probably enough of that for the moment. And coming towards the front door, here's the camper that was used for taking Snoopy's robot boat down to the coast, and June and Samantha had a holiday for a few days in it down in Cornwall. Yes, here's the battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Now, before we go into the house, I've got to point out a few warning signs, and I must hasten to add these are just jokes, because you know what people will say. Anyhow, so we come down and it says closed circuit TV, hidden TV cameras inside and outside this house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Just a joke, of course. Yes, cameras everywhere. Lots of them. Now that's the flatulent fairy. Was to go on up a tree. It might go up a tree next Christmas. What else have we got? Yes, peanuts everywhere for various wildlife. Peanut feeder, that was recently fixed. And yes, another camera down there. Gnomes. Now, these signs are probably the most important. That's my study in there. And do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. And maybe this sign, from a health and safety point of view, is the most important of the lot. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock, beware of web cameras and water squirters. loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? Just a joke, of course. Right, I think it's safe to go into the house now, so let's try doing that. And yes, tennis gear. You see the time, it's just coming up to 12 o'clock British Standard Time. And quick glance into the kitchen, and June watching tennis on the television just for a change. Yes, that was a big breakthrough, putting in these skylights and these temporary mirrors. That was some time ago now. So this is the kitchen. So now go through. We haven't got to where the real work was done, which was the end of the garden. Yes, doing this on the smartphone because I haven't got a suitable camera and I don't like big clunky ones. So going into the lounge here. Yes, there's Robin's naughty corner where he relaxes, nice furniture, perhaps to have a snack and look at the closed circuit TV. Yes, that was very cheap from a scrapyard, I think, £5. Anyhow, well, tip. Yes, so here is, we've got a cheap PC driving the TV and it's tracking me at the moment, so there we go. You can zoom in, but there's Sunninghill, where we are in Sunninghill. Now, so the lounge hasn't really changed very much, but now I'm going to go into the garden, and where we've done most of the work is down the end, but a few little projects have come along. There's still experimental work going on here. Yes, mosquito zapper, because they're a problem. Now, the pond is filling up at the moment, which is a regular daily ritual, and it's during the winter that we can work seriously on it. But this is a project which is pretty well done now, which is the little Brussels peeing boy. And I think we've got the electrics and everything else about right now. And that reminds me of my trips to NATO headquarters in Brussels in the 70s. Anyhow, that is the top pond. And of course, when it's filled up, and of course, hopefully, all the rainwater comes off the roof and down into it, over there. And yes, there's a concrete lady fountain. And then it overflows into this pond. It's still got a way to go, yeah, because I only set it going half an hour ago. Overflows and goes down the stream. Yes, that's the telescope that I built the optics for as a boy, and no time to do any work on that. There's wild fennel from Sicily. We brought some cuttings back, and not important ingredient. Now I'm coming down the garden. You may have seen this in the more recent photo trail, but yes, so that's to make it a bit easier to go down the steps. There's the hose running from round the side of the house to fill. I may as well show a glance of this because these videos are very much for people into property maintenance. It shows things how not to do them when I make mistakes, but also that some things are very simple, and that's where the electrics, including the car battery and things, are for the driving the pumps. So that's around this side. Load of tidying up needed, but right, this is the second pond, and we did a bit to make a progress of cutting this, and that was Samantha and June helped, and part of it was where I had a bit of an accident because this hadn't been made secure enough, and luckily Samantha was there to help me untrap myself. Right, we're coming down now. Yeah, flowers, of course. June's roses, even if you cut them back earlier in the year, they rather obstructing my sundial, but not to worry. You can hear a pigeon in the background, I think. So we're about to go down into the area where real progress has been made. So past the Gunnerer manticata, which is the only surviving one we have in the garden at the moment, down into what is a lovely place to sit and relax, particularly in the evening. And you can see the wildlife and the birds and everything. This morning when I was just checking things out, yes, this will fill up, I found that I think it was a fox. Normally we worry about pigeons, so yes, look at that mess there. Now the cameras aren't all working, but that's my suspicions, it was a fox. Yeah, so this is coming along very nicely. We've got bulbs planted here, which will be things like bluebells. We've got plenty of scope for putting primroses. And of course, the sky has been opened up. We could do more. So particularly when the sun comes across the sky, then this becomes quite a sunny spot. So quite a lot of plants will grow. Most of the plants that we've been putting in are things like mint, which mosquitoes don't like, but we have a mosquito trap. I've ordered 2 more of those for up near the house, and I don't like it if they get moths, but you can see pigeons settle on it, make a mess on the solar panel. Bird feeders, now down in this end I've just topped them up recently, but we've got, I think it's 5 bird feeders here. And there's another one up there. Anyhow, this is a lovely spot to sit and relax, including in the evening, and then the solar lights come on. And of course, a lot of those details will be in the photo trail. Now, where an important bit of progress is, because it won't be long and loads of leaves will be coming down, we needed the space to put things, and we used up a lot of space on the compost heaps, but I've increased the height of the compost heap, so we won't be running out of space for dumping stuff. So most of it are cut-ins like rhododendron and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's the junk area. We'll tidy that up in due course, including being able to access things like the ladder. I may as well show it. It's been on other photo trails, which is, yes, a few key tools are in there, like chainsaws. Shouldn't be misused, of course. And so coming up the garden, right, anybody who's going to do some lovely flowers starting to come up here already. Not sure what all of them are. June's washing line. Now this hasn't changed much, but it's worth pointing out, somebody's got to do mow the lawns. Oh, look for a lawnmower. Oh, there's a lawnmower, there's a strimmer, uses mains power. Yeah, go for around the other side, and there's an extension lead. And I haven't cut that grass for months now, but if I did want to cut it, the whole job, including getting the tools out, mowing it, putting the grass on the compost heap, putting the tools away, well, possibly half an hour, but not much more. Right, we're coming round into the workshop area here. So for example, there's power here with an extension lead. And this was done some time ago, mostly with the help of Paul from Chobham. And so we've got stuff there. And of course, more tidying up could be done to put tools in the right place. So for example, hammers tend to be in the same area, files and everything else, spanners. So that needs to be worked on in terms of work, because at the end of the day you say what's at the top of the priority list, and some things interrupt others. So we're now coming back up, and we should be running into those photo trails soon. This is June's little patch here. I might as well complete it. So yeah, PIR lights come on. That's her greenhouse. Yes, lots of junk here. And come around, sorry about the politically incorrect water tub, that's important to her. That's where the cats can go in and out. This is where the tap is, main tap, and then loads of routes for the water to go to different places. That's where materials, oh yes, that's plastic piping material, wood, and of course various other odds and ends. So working round here, this brings us round to where the dustbins are kept and the at the front. So yeah, you'd say this is useful for somebody who wants to case the joint, but I don't think it would be a good idea. Anyhow, so we're about to go into the photo trails, which are just those few days in late September, and so just making sure you see all this. So I haven't really done anything on that, and we're gradually putting things around here into what seems to be the right place. There looks like spare water squirters to be looked on. You can see what the time is there. You can see what the temperature is there. What is that? Coming up to 13 centigrade or something like that. Yeah, the barbecue under there. So gradually it'll get tidied up more, but, and of course we've got fishes in the pond. And where's the water level? Where it's coming up, it's probably within an inch or two of overflowing. There's a depth gauge over there. So at the end of the photo trails, there'll be some material that was shot a couple of years ago, which is on two topics. One is well, global warming, which is very important, of course. In short, it's going to happen and you haven't seen anything yet. And the other thing is Robin's experience with the DVLA, Driver Vehicle Licensing Agency. Anyhow, enough of that. Let's go into those photo trails now. And I warned you, they will be long photo trails. Monday the 27th of October 2025. That's the day of their journey to Barnstable for the funeral of Jill Warner. Lovely friends from years ago. Last time we saw them was at the wedding. And yes, that include Clive and Jill, only a couple of years ago. So that was the total trip to Barnstable, but on the way we had to pick up Michelle from the windmill. So first thing was making a guess at how long that would take. And so these are the photos pretty well in the order shot now, including checking, yes, if we're going to pick up Michelle on the way. A few snaps around the garden, making sure everything's okay. Usual routine, going down the end and probably topping up the 5 bird feeders. Checking everything is okay while we're gone. Yeah, down towards the end. And yeah, and nothing. And it's because Toadie has come in to join me while I'm recording this commentary. Yes, that's the pond. Hello, Toadie. You gonna? Yes, try not to cause any problems. I don't want you playing with the mouse. Yes, so. Oh yes, that's the Ring camera going off. And there's Toadie eating in the kitchen. So he's got plenty of food while we're away. And of course Lady was there with him as well. So we're pretty well ready to go. Yes, there's the robot boat in the front. The weather wasn't too bad for the trip actually. And yeah, so we're off. So there's a few snaps on the route, including past a few places. Yeah, I think we took a detour through Larkhill, avoiding the congestion, and Stonehenge. There was a diversion. I'm in contact, of course, with Michelle. And yeah, just checking the using the Google Maps for guidance, I think. Alright, so yeah, some of the smaller villages on the way now, getting closer to the windmill where we're going to pick up Michelle. He says from memory. Yes, here we go. So that's the front gate. So I let them in, and there's the windmill. It's called the windmill. There's no sails on it. It's a tower. So they load stuff into the car, and yeah, 1 or 2 snaps. Lovely spot that is. And right, so we're off again. Yes, of course, mistakes all over the place. Mostly due to believing too much what Google Maps says. But anyhow, it looks as though we've got there. So we're booked for 2 nights in that place, Travelodge, I think it was. Yes, got to the room, plugged things in for charging, and oh yes, decided what we're going to have to eat. That's the room number, so don't forget, Robin. Room 56. Right, that's the end of the photos for that day. The next day is the day of the funeral, Tuesday the 28th of October 2025. So, yes, that was a walk around the garden, I think, which was after the service, having a look round. But then I think it pretty well goes into the order they shot. They wanted to visit, because we had time in the morning, of course, before the service, so they wanted to go along to a lovely patch of coast, and they walked those few yards to the beach. But I enjoyed time in a cafe, particularly interacting with people, including the little boy who had a prison uniform on but said it was a Christmas present, but I'm not a prisoner. Right, looks as though we're back to Travelodge, and yes, making sure things work. Oh yes, that is getting my Chromebook to work, but that was giving silly problems. Not to worry. The answer is don't have too expectations of anything digital. I did get my AOL mail working eventually. Right, looks like we're off, and Saskia's doing the driving. And yes, to the crematorium, Barnstaple that is. And yes, and then lovely handout, and of course lovely service. Yeah, lovely memories repeated. And that was the photos I took afterwards, and I wasn't sure which car was ours, or rather Saskia's, but I saw my coat inside it, so that, and there was a seagull keeping an eye on it as well. So then it was where we're going to go next. This is probably a snack, and yes, oh no it wasn't, sorry, this was the wake at the S&Q, or SQ. That was a lovely get together, but of course very few photos taken, other than, yes, that was on display, so I took a few close-ups of those. Very much younger there, Clive. And yes, there were some lovely anecdotes given at the service, but that I think is the end of that photo trail. Wednesday the 29th of October 2025, our return home to Sunninghill, and that's Michelle with Pussycat Toady, pleased to see us. Starts with photos of us at breakfast at the hotel, and yes, that was enjoyable. And then of course rain, so rain for practically most of our journey, and so June's driving and we're setting off, and yes, a few landmarks you could probably work out on the mapping where it was, and yeah, so we're getting near Stonehenge and take a diversion through Lark Hill, and we're also wondering where we're going to stop for something to eat, and so we're looking for cafes that might be open, and then we do find one, and that's where we park the car. and then chose what was a lovely little cafe, and Amesbury, I think it is. So we had been there years ago to see the Amesbury Stone Circle, I think. A lovely, enjoyable coffee and snack there. Looked across that. Oh, that gave me some memories of pranks as a schoolboy. Swapping letters around, I think, and the one in Wokingham. And we're almost home now. Yes, it was damp most of the way. Into Armitage Court and get to our place. Here we go, number 22, and into the house. And there's Lady, Michelle's pussycat. And June turns on the telly, so Lady says, I'll come and watch the television. Or what have you got on your tablet? And Toadie's out there somewhere. So check out the garden. Yeah, water's dropped a bit in that bowl, but it's much as you'd expect. A few more leaves have come down, but still a lot more to come down. Going down the end of the garden because the bird feeders haven't been topped up for, was it 3 days? And, 2 days at least. Yes, that's one that's empty. So out with the bird feed, top up all 5 bird feeders. And what else have we got? Back into the lounge. Oh yes, look at the Spot Satcoms tracker, and that was working. It doesn't update very often, but it seems to have shown the important places where the car was parked, including the hotel. And then my own tracker that I'm wearing, that updates much more often. And yes, that showed, for example, the journey on that day. And and the details. There's a lot of scatter when you're at a particular place. And that's the trip down to the beach, Westward Ho. And that's the whole journey back home. There we go. And looking at some of the particular places we came through, including going around Stonehenge and looking for a place to stop to eat. And there we go. And then getting back home, and there's Toadie. Hello, Toadie. Yes, Michelle likes Toadie, as she does Lady. So Toadie says, I'll have something to eat. And yes, checking out various odds and ends. Yes, I've ice cream cornered, I think. Oh dear, yes. Found that there was this dead mouse, a present that Toadie had probably got for Lady, so Samantha collects it up and throws it in the garden. Now it's off to take Michelle to the railway station at Ascot, because she's going back with Lady to Coventry. She's got to work the next day. So through South Ascot to the railway station, and make sure she gets onto the train. And of course the train was on schedule, came through when she expected it. So she gets on the train with Lady, and they're off to Coventry. And of course we hear later on that day that she got there okay, got back home. So we're off back home now from the station, through South Ascot, the Swindley pub, into Armitage Court, and to number 22, and the robot boat. No work done on that for months, in fact practically years. And oh yes, I thought some photographs of when we last got together with the family, including Clive and Jill. It was 2 years ago, and of course I used those photos, and then put the commentary on the video for the couple of days earlier. And June's watching the tennis. Perhaps I should go down to the village to eat. So go down to the village. Hadn't eaten down there for several days. I went to La Sorrentina, made very welcome. Enjoyed the food there, and of course the conversations with guys. There we go, arancini. Thoroughly enjoyable that was. Short visit to the Comrades Club. That's a half moon, doesn't look like it though. Not very good. and there was only a short visit at the Comrades Club, and then back home in order to do hard work like putting the video together for that day, which is today. And June's watching the tennis. There's me putting this commentary on, and that's the end of the photo trail. Thursday the 30th of October 2025. Yes, there's Robin and Raj, who visited with his mum later in the day. That photo's near the back end of the photo trail. Yeah, back to the usual routine. Checking the temperature, 10 degrees. Main thing is just checking if anything's changed in the garden, apart from the usual routine of topping up bird feeders and things. So it looks as though I've been leaving the tap running for a while before I started that photo trail. And yeah, so making my way down the garden, past the gunnerer to the seating area. Yeah, still dry, so the pond hasn't overflowed yet enough, and so the tap's still running, and yeah, so no real change there. Just a few snaps showing what it's like. Quite a lot of leaves, but there'll be far more leaves as soon as we get a frost and a bit of wind to bring them down. Yeah, it's all boring stuff, I'm sure, but it's a record. So making my way back to the patio. Yeah, there's my reflection in the patio door, or one of the patio doors. Yes, and again. And back into the lounge. June's watching tennis on television, just for a change. I think that's from Paris, but I may be wrong. Oh, that bird feeder needed topping up, so I went ahead and did that. And also topped up the peanuts in the front porch area, in the feeder, and across on the other side for the bird feeder. And then I noticed, yeah, that stuff hasn't been cleared up yet. But, looks like Stuart has arrived, because it's pub lunch today, and Stuart's kindly being chauffeur, so off we go. And it's to the Duke of Edinburgh at Woodside, Ascot. Yeah, there's a record of what we ate. So interesting conversations and nice relaxing meal. Then back out, and yeah, one or two snaps going through the village, including the theatre and Chapman's and Free One Barber Shop. And yeah, so it's coffee over at Richard and Faye's, but Robin, as usual, pops back quickly to check a few things, not least emails, and it's just so I'm pre-warned. And I probably thought, I wonder whether I need to turn the tap off, but I'm going down. Yeah, the water's higher now, but it wasn't really over flooding. So yeah, it looks as though it's all doing as it should do. So make my way back. Yeah, just note how much that's overgrown. It all needs to be trimmed back sometime or other, and then back over for coffee, bickies and chatting for a while, and then back home. And what we got next, can't always predict what's going to happen next. Yeah, 4:10 in the afternoon by the look of it. And yeah, not much different down there, I don't think. Let's just see. Yeah, so that reservoir for the bog garden has topped up. But, there's Toadie prowling around, checking things out. Yes, 4:10. And of course, it gets dark earlier as the nights are drawing in. So, looks as though yes, the lights have started to come on. They're the solar powered lights, which come on when it gets below a certain level of light. And yes, it looks like that pond reservoir or bog garden reservoir has been topped up. So I'll make my way round to where the taps are so I can turn the water off. And what else? Oh, that's where the pussycats go in and out, if they don't find other ways of getting in and out of the house. And of course other lights are coming on in the patio area and back indoors. And then we had a visit by Raj on the left and his mum Belle, and Toadie decided to join us. Yes, say hello to them, and started walking around and showing that he could use the keyboard as well. And tends to eat mice rather than use them. Yeah, there you go. We sent that picture to Adriano, actually, saying Raj says hello to Adriano. Right, 6:15 in the evening, and time for Robin to force himself to walk down to the village to have something to eat. And I wonder where he's going to go. Has to be the flame kebab. And actually, by coincidence, yes, I was having my usual there, and Raj got a takeaway, so we had a few minutes chatting there. Then into the Comrades Club for a little while, and then back home. And yes, there's Toadie getting up to mischief, of course. And time for bed, so that's the end of the photo trail. Friday the 31st of October 2025, Halloween. Yes, and there'll be a couple of short clips, with sound of course, of the party in the Comrades Club, which was mostly for children. And so you'll see that later, but we're now going into the photo trail, which is most of it, and it starts with the usual routine. Yes, what's that, 10 o'clock in the morning, 13 degrees, checking out the garden and going down in order to top up the bird feeders. But yeah, it's much the same as it has been in recent days. Quite a lot of leaves come down, but there'll be a lot more when there's a frost. Yeah, it's looking a bit of a mess, isn't it? But not to worry. So getting down the end, yes, there's an empty bird feeder. All 5 bird feeders were empty, so top them up. There's one topped up. Yes, that's the mosquito zapper. Bit of a messy state. And then looking inside the summer house for the Halloween gear from last year. So collect that together. Yes, I quite like that one. And there's Toadie, decided to take an interest, well, having a drink basically from things on the table. So then, yes, that sign, that was the trick-or-treaters sign, welcome them in. So starting to basically dump the Halloween stuff in the front porch area so it can be put in the right place. And then I thought, a better place where it can be seen by the camera for that sign. There, so there's me tapping it in to the ground, and it's covered by the camera, so that's not too bad. And yeah, so oh yes, found that was my bit of headgear that I tended to wear. And then June comes out and she's putting things in the right place. Quite a lot of things I'd forgotten we'd even had. Yeah, a bit frightening, I suppose, and including that pussycat. I forgot we had that. And there's our pussycat, Toadie, relaxing, of course, on June's lounger. So it's getting into a reasonable state now. And yes, I went into the Blend and Brew and had lunch. Yes, very nice that was. And then into Thames Hospice, because I'd mislaid that thing that, well, like a knife through your head, and I'd mislaid it, put it in the wrong place. So looking around there, that's a quick look in the Comrades Club. There was nobody in it to speak of, and it's obviously prepared for a Halloween party. And I thought that was going to be on the Saturday, but apparently that had been cancelled. But there was a party for children, essentially, on the Friday, Halloween. So I'm back home, and yes, things are pretty well in the right place. Oh, and there's some treats that Stu's got already. And yes, there's Toadie relaxing. Makes a change, doesn't it, for him to do that? And we're going out because I'd mislaid where that knife was that appears to be stuck through one's head. I put it somewhere and I didn't know where, so we thought, well, we'll take a trip out to Longacres first of all, and we might find the same thing there. It wouldn't be very much money, but no, couldn't get it there. So June said, oh, the most likely place is the range at Bracknell. No, couldn't find it there either. And of course it's raining as well, didn't help. Then thought, oh, I'll go over to Oak Tree and look there. And well, I did come away with that. That was very, very cheap. I can't remember, but £1.50 or something for the witch's hat. Thought, well, Samantha needed one. And something coming back through into South Ascot, past the Swindley pub, into Armitage Court and number 22. And yes, there's the sign in the US, isn't it? I thought, oh, that hat could go on Air Flatulent Fairy. Seems a good place for it. And then I found what I'd managed to mislay. So that trip out was a bit unnecessary. Oh yes, I thought some PVC tape was more practical than red paint to make it look a bit messier. So since I seem to have the right gear, I thought I'd go down to the Blend and Brew and have lunch, and then across into the Flame Kebab. You see it's getting darker, and yes, that looks like the party. And yes, is it the party? I don't know. No, perhaps I was just checking it out before. Yeah, this is the party. Yes. At least you get a flavour from it. Yeah, it's a bit quiet, isn't it, he says. Yeah, it gives you a flavour of what it was like. Right, that was your video clips, so now back into just photos. So yeah, coming out of the Coral Mirrors Club, then across, relaxing in the Flame, I think, with a coffee. And then I met a couple of people. Now I will say Jubal was one of them, but very difficult to say. And where next? Oh, it looks like I'm coming back home. And yes, I thought I'd check out June. Yes, trick-or-treating. And yeah, they're busy in the kitchen watching tennis and things. So then I look at the closed circuit TV to see the visitors. So we did have two visitors. One was a little girl with her dad, and come in to the door, and so yeah, June let her take some treats. In fact, I think I saw her take 2 lots of treats. And then the other visitor, he looked at first glance like a Mr. Blobby, but he took his hat off, and I think it was his mum hovering in the background, but can't be sure. So we had 2 lots of trick-or-treaters. And yeah, June's watching the tennis. Time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. I warned you they'd be long photo trails. And so let's go back into the house before we run into that material that was shot, as I say, probably a couple of years ago. So I'll start from here. Yes, I quite like that Renoir. Quite a nice, expensive Renoir, isn't it? But yeah, so That's it. Still got tennis on the television. So I think that other material started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rearing itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels, to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet, because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge. So to wrap up this video, walking out. So, if I can work out how to use this smartphone, don't think I can. Only remains to say, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we can.